Chapter 545. Ma Hong Yun. How big was the possibility of a mortal successfully plotting against a Gu immortal? Fang Yuan might be a rank 5 peak stage Gu master, but it would be almost impossible for him as well to cross the boundaries of immortal and mortal. Fang Yuan was a Gu immortal in his past life. There might be no mortal that had as deep of an understanding of this as him. Fortunately, Fang Yuan's plan was not just himself as a mortal going against a Gu immortal. He would borrow the strength of 88 True Young building, the bright guidance from his previous life's rich experience, and also the precious information from Lang Ye Land Spirit. All these allowed his plan to have a higher chance of success. With this, he had a 20% chance of seizing immortal Gu landscape as before. 20% probability was already the highest among the 3 ways to save Donghun Mountain. Only an immortal Gu could contend against immortal Gu Gruel Mud. Based on his wide vision and experience from his 500 years of experience, Fang Yuan knew of only 3 immortal Gu that could save Donghun Mountain. First was the rank 6 Earth Path Turn Rock Gu. This Gu was with Western Desert's rank 6 Gu immortal Sun Ku. Second was similarly an Earth Path rank 6 immortal Gu rebuilding Mount Dongshan, which was in Eastern Sea's Haishi Blessed Land. Third was Time Path rank 6, immortal Gu landscape as before. This Gu had not yet been created and was not a naturally formed Gu. Its master Tai Bai Yun Sheng was only a rank 5 Gu master currently. To seize Turn Rock Gu, Fang Yuan would have to deal with Gu immortal Sun Ku, who had been a Gu immortal for over a dozen years. And the situation would be even more bad if he wanted to scheme against rebuilding Mount Dongshan. Fang Yuan would be placing himself under the radar of Gu immortals. And would he be able to exchange for the immortal Gu as immortal? This was nothing more than a kid carrying gold and strolling around the black market. Thus, the third plan of immortal Gu landscape, as before, had the lowest risk and the highest probability of success. Even if Tai Bai Yun Sheng would advance into a Gu immortal, he would only be a greenhorn and would not be familiar with the qualitative change of strength. Compared to the veteran Sun Ku and that group of Gu immortals in the Haishi Blessed Land, this opponent was much more easy to deal with. Northern Plains, December. The blizzard was gradually becoming bigger and appeared more frequently. Even if there was no blizzard, the pure white snow had covered the whole Northern Plains, and even the blistering hot sunlight became powerless. The time of the 10-year blizzard was already approaching closer. Tianchuan, Warm Pond Valley. Tribe leader, this is the Spirit Spring Sea. Ma Yu Liang worriedly pointed at the dried spirit spring and introduced it to Ma Yingjie. Ma Yingjie's brows furrowed deeply. This Spirit Spring Sea was one of the only 3 remaining spirit springs of Warm Pond Valley. Now that it was dried up, only Spirit Springs A and B were left to support Ma Tribe. This was disastrous news to Ma Tribe. The Spirit Springs in Northern Plains were different from the Spirit Springs in other regions. Northern Springs had little spring water and narrow spring opening, so they burst out fiercely and had poor foundation, so they lasted the shortest time. Eastern Springs were plentiful in numbers. Southern Springs gurgled. Northern Springs were intense, and Western Springs were pure. A mid-sized clan could last for over 10 years in southern border, using one spirit spring. As long as they did not use up the spirit spring excessively, they could continue to use the thin and continuous flow of the spirit spring. But it was different in Northern Plains. Spirit springs formed quickly in Northern Plains and quickly finished as well. Add in the intense warfares in Northern Plains, a mid-sized tribe would require at least 3 or 4 spirit springs to sustain themselves. Ma Yingji became Ma Tribe's new tribe leader after he returned to the tribe. Ma Tribe had lost at their attempt to charge into super tribe level and was now reduced to a small tribe, causing the large Warm Pond Valley to appear spacious and empty. Ma Tribe had rations and water sources, moreover had made ample preparations. But a spirit spring was a commodity that was an essential and important resource to a Gu master's cultivation. Once the blizzard arrives, places like Warm Pond Valley would become the final place of refuge. Not only beast groups, other Gu masters would also come to stay. As the owner of the place, Ma tribe not only had to resist against the blizzard, but had to negotiate with these people as well. The primeval stones from the spirit spring were the backbone in supporting a Gu master's battles. Now, out of the three backbones of Ma tribe, one was broken. The weak Ma tribe that was left with 30% of their foundations suddenly had 10% less because of the drying spirit spring, C. However, Ma Ying-jae had no countermeasures to deal with such a problem. If he had a river as before, Gu, he could immediately restore Spirit Spring C to its original condition, resolving this problem, but he did not have it. Lord Tribe Leader, are Spirit Springs really so important? Fei Kai asked on the way back. After he returned to the tribe, as a benefactor who saved Ma Yingjie, he was immediately liberated from his slave status and was now a free person. At the same time, he was still Ma Yingjie's personal attendant. Ma Yingjie worriedly nodded. A spirit springs drying up has an extremely huge influence towards Gu Masters, and Gu Masters are the pillars of a tribe. Our Ma tribe not only needs Gu Masters as an important strength to resist all kinds of calamities during the blizzard disaster, but also to fight for new resources to develop the tribe after the disaster. Fei Kai exclaimed, then asked while walking, "Then can't we find new spirit springs? Our warm pond valley is so large. Who is to say that there are only these three spirit springs?" Fei Kai's words were filled with his optimistic spirit. Ma Yingjie gave a bitter laugh. Northern Plains spirit springs can indeed form in a short time. There might be a fourth spirit spring in Warm Pond Valley, but the probability is close to zero. The thing is, every 10 years as the blizzard approaches, spirit springs in all regions of Northern Plains will continue to become dry and dead. After the blizzard disperses, new spirit springs will gush out in large numbers. At that time, all the regions of Northern Plains will have plentiful water vegetation, and you might even find one spirit spring every 100 li. That is the best time for every tribe and every beast group to grow. It was like that. Fei Kai only then realized he had lived for this long and was still ignorant and was not familiar to such situations. Ah! Suddenly he screamed as he fell down to the side. Oh! They were walking a path beside the cliff. Fortunately, it was a gentle slope and not a precipice. Fei Kai had lost his footing and rolled down from the slope, screaming as he fell. This guy, Ma Yingjie, was amused at the series of hilarious screams from Fei Kai, his tightly knitted brows slightly relaxed. "You idiot! You can't even walk now? Climb up quickly!" Ma Yingjie suddenly stopped. His eyes opened wide as he looked incredulously at a brand new spirit spring gushing out from the slope. This spirit spring's mouth had been covered by a rock, but this stone was pushed by the rolling Fei Kai, letting the spirit spring that was covered reveal itself. This was clearly a recently formed spirit spring. Otherwise, Ma tribe would not have missed it during their search before the battle. The volume of the spirit spring was enormous, and in a short few moments of time, over 100 primeval stones gushed with the spring water and fell on the surrounding ground. This is actually a new spirit spring and one that directly surpasses the volume of Spirit Spring A. Ma Yingjie was so happy that even his eyes started reddening. Is this the so-called joy after extreme sorrow? This is definitely the blessing of our ancestors in longevity heaven. Tribe leader, I have returned. At this time, Fei Kai came back while limping a little, and as he saw the new spring, his eyes similarly opened wide. Strange. How could there suddenly be a spring here? Ma Yingjie laughed heartily. Fei Kai, you are the lucky star that heaven sent to me. From today onwards, you should change your name. Fei Kai sounds similar to trash. How could I, Ma Yingjie, have trash beside me? From now you shall be called Hong Yun, Fei Hong Yun. It indicates luck shining on our Ma tribe, joy after extreme sorrow. However, Ma Yingjie was not happy for long, as 7 days later, He tribe army arrived and surrounded Warm Pond Valley. The very night the He tribe army garrisoned nearby, the three spirit springs of Warm Pond Valley simultaneous turned black, completely polluted. A letter to surrender soon reached Ma Yingjie's land. Ma Yingjie had not expected He Lulan to not let him go even after clearly achieving the final victory. The spirit springs that were contaminated by the use of goo worms could no longer produce primeval stones and were all useless. Although Ma tribe still had stocks of primeval stones, they had already lost the possibility of continuing to stay in Warm Pond Valley. I had not thought Halu Land would be so hell-bent on attacking. He has requested our Ma tribe to surrender in the letter, which does not violate the rules set by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable back then. Damn it, he is truly hateful. Ma Yingjie clenched his fists, his heart filled with anger, hatred, helplessness, and powerlessness. He Lu Lan, who is nicknamed Black Tyrant, has always been brutal and violent. It seems the battle before created a fear in him towards Ma tribe. But because of Ancestor Giant Sun's rules, he wants to put Ma tribe under his sight and continue to oppress us. Ma Yuliang was sitting stiffly on his chair and analyzed this with a heavy voice. After pausing for a while, he continued, "Actually, this is also good. We can surrender to He Lu Lan, which would mean we can enter Imperial Court Blessed Land as well." Ma Yingjie shook his head. This is where He Lu Lan's sinister intent lies in. It is true Ma tribe will be able to stay in Imperial Court, but what about others? Let me ask you, how many tribesmen do we have left with surname Ma? Ma Yuliang paled as he answered, "Only over 130. Precisely so." Ma Yingjie nodded with a heavy expression. To grow our tribe, we would need to take in outsiders and also wantonly connect with marriage and have large numbers of offspring. But as long as He Lu Lan sent a command to forbid our Ma tribe from taking in outsiders, and even only allowing us to have inter-tribe marriage, then how long would it take for our Ma tribe to grow? Ma Yuliang's face turned even paler. He realized the seriousness of this problem. Politics was dirty, and not allowing them to marry outsiders could be easily done. He Lu Lan would only need to use the reason of protecting the purity of Huangjin family's bloodline, and he would be able to justly suppress Ma tribe's development. Then what should we do? Ma Yuliang lost his composure. Ma Yingjie was silent for a while before resolutely saying, "We will bestow surname Ma to the outsiders and take them as our own tribesmen. Lord Tribe Leader, if we do this, our Ma tribe's Huangjin bloodline will really be," Ma Yuliang spoke hesitantly, "we will have preventive measures. Huangjin bloodline is our Ma tribe's pride. We can never let it be contaminated. If the situation takes a turn for the better, we can denounce these people and strip away their Ma surname." Ma Yuliang only then felt at ease and nodded, approving this plan.